thank you for tuning in to our next episode of Perfectly Imperfect Perspective. I am Michaelia Thomas. And as promised, we are going to start talking about the black sheep beauty. But before we get to the beauty, I want to talk about something else. As I was leaving service, a service I went to today, and I was coming up the road, and I said, a lot of, the black sheep, of course, we still sitting on rejection. I'm not going to let up on that. And perversion. Because in order to get you into deeper, darker places with perversion, like I say, it's so much deeper than sex. It starts in here. It starts in here. And it's no more fertile ground than the ground of somebody who's rejected, left alone, like they have to figure things out, no guidance, no structure. Really rejected by an entire family. I can relate to that. But today I want to talk about, before I can even go there, I want to talk about, because everything has fruit. So I want to break this cycle of nurse and rehearse. With people with rejection, like you will nurse and rehearse your pain and say you over it. Let me tell you something. Anytime you over something, or you are healed in a certain area, you can still feel the pain of some things, but there you can be healed with an ED in certain areas of your life. And some things, healing just takes longer to get to the ED, but healing is a process. And the reason I say ing is an ongoing thing, because what you can be guaranteed of in this life is somebody will hurt your feelings, will let you down, whether it's intentional, inadvertently. It's just a cycle, something can hurt you, like it doesn't, a deal could fall through. Any plethora of things can happen in life. So disappointment, letdown, different things of that nature. Hurt is just part of life's experience. So that's what I mean when we'll forever be healing, because it'll always be, that's just the course of this human experience. And if anybody tells you that is not, I'm not even gonna touch that. But we're gonna go into what I'm talking about, like nurse and rehearse. So it's even to the point, like when you're not healed, the black sheep, and you're not as healed as you think you were, because walking away, having the strength, or being forced, because sometimes people are away from their family. It's not because that's what you want, it's because you were forced. But we nurse and rehearse the pain, and then it's so bad that people turn it into a competition. I can't tell you how many times I used to do it, but now I'm aware of it so I could talk about it. And this is rejection. Because only rejection and not healing would make you not be a good listener to what somebody else is going through, but instead, like, oh, well, let me tell you what I've been through. Now we having a rejection Olympics. Who's been hurt the worst? Oh, well, you can't even be a good listener to a friend or whatever it is, but you call yourself called to ministry, and a part of it, you in a marriage, in a friendship, you need to be able to hear the other person, but you can't. I know people who don't even want a phone conversation if it's not them monopolized. If they can't monopolize the whole conversation, it need to be about them. And then we're supposed to spend time listening to your problems. And then you need the other person's position is to tell them they great, or about they gifts, or just keep telling you awesome. And I'm not that person. I'm not about to feed that, because it all comes from rejection. Because we have to get some confidence. We have to get some understanding and awareness of ourselves. I've never been more like appalled. Like, somebody could be pouring their heart out, and somebody will say, oh, what happened to you? Well, that ain't nothing. Let me tell you about this. This is the fruit, because everything bear fruit. This is the fruit of rejection. You need to be seen. You need to always, I'm not talking about being funny and can get a room and whatever. That's a good time. I'm talking about always needing to be the center of attention. You always got to be right. You always got to know the answer. You don't even know what, you don't have to know what you're talking about, but this is the depth of rejection and abuse and all the different things that come with it. You know, people who walk in this, you could literally, the problem they'll call out in somebody is literally something they're nowhere near healed from, but they know what you need to be doing. Rejection is a person who, they can always tell you the truth, but as soon as you tell them something, they don't want to talk to you no more. Or if they working with people, therapy, ministry, whatever it is, everything all good as long as you telling them they're great. But as soon as you start telling them about things, not out of criticism, but out of trying to help them, to help themselves, it's time for them to move on. This not working, or it's a whole nother issue, because they have this false sense of self that they have built up that has helped them to survive up until this point. I'm included in the conversation, so I could talk about it. Anything that I bring up, I'm talking about it because I've come out of it, still working through it. I've been through it. And that's just the truth. I'm not going to keep this long because this is going to get broke up into a series. But right now, we want to just work on breaking up the nurse and rehearse, where you constantly say you over something, but you keep bringing it up. And some kind of way, we having a conversation about going to a carnival, and then next thing we know, we on a whole story about your mother and father, what they did or didn't do, and well, it's okay because I'm a strong person, and then you looking. But that's what rejection does. That's how it'll speak out of a person, and they swear up and down that nothing bothers them. But baby, that couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth, because in this nurse and rehearse section of rejection, everything bothers them. Everything is a problem. They are nitpickers. They are complainers. And the only voice they are comfortable under is the sound of their own. And don't you dare call them out on nothing they doing, because this same overbearing, obnoxious personality will turn around and cry. I can't believe you talk to me like, because it's not healed, especially when we're talking about people who have survived all types of abuse. When you're not healing the tactics and the psychology of it, this is, again, why the Lord has commissioned me to go after perversion. You literally take on the mindset and attributes of the abusers. So when you don't get your way, even though you survive that, you need healing and to go through processes and get that out of you, because you actually take on traits and attributes of your abusers. So when things don't work, then you manipulate and you get sensitive, because now it is no more, it's not about whether a person is right or wrong. It's about how dare you and woe is me. But outside of that, it's nothing gentle, kind, and loving about you. You a whole barracuda. Okay, I'm back. We got a photo bomber. I'm just trying to get the first part. This probably is gonna go into 3, so I'm coming out the gate at the attitude and attribute, so you can understand what you're really talking to. Like, why is this person like this? Like, the over talking, that comes from rejection too. I still have to actively work on that. Sometimes I do get excited, but I find here lately, a lot of the people I talk to, if I don't interject, I won't even get out what I'm saying, because that thing from feeling like you haven't been heard, or you talking, people don't listen to you. A person could be talking and Rejection to have you just jump in and start talking like the other person wasn't talking at all. And I've had to jump in on conversations recently with people, not because of rejection, but because I was actually saying something. I just want to complete what I'm saying. Because even if you give them room to speak, you have to understand people who deal with this, they may, you know, have a life of like separation, isolation, and then some of them don't, because they know how to be high performers to keep people around them, because they just thrive off of any type of attention, and they need to be the center of it. So anybody with any type of confidence or personality, or that could be, you know, have a presence, is a threat to them. And you'll know that you a threat, because then you get like, you can know they're a great person, but this attribute from rejection also, again, you know, now they fixate on, they find every kind of flaw in you. Again, the behavior, the things that was inflicted on them is what they actually enact, reenact, and carry out on and spill on other people, because it's a learned behavior. So then they nitpick and tear you down, and they focus on not everybody, because if they can overtalk and overpower and command a majority, it's only certain ones like me who, you know, you would try to make a target, further frustrating yourself, because that's not gonna work. So you got one end of that, then you got another end of a person, this is still talking about rejection, who I'm gonna make an excuse for, because I know how great this person actually is. But it took me years to understand, like, there's no such thing as friendship. Like, some of the, and this is more than one woman that I went through this with, because it's a lot of jealousy and competition. It's not that that they should be or have any real reason to be, because every woman I've ever been close to is awesome, dynamic, creative, just over the top dope women with no effort. The problem is they're the only ones that don't really see it, because if they really saw it, the conflicts that I've encountered with these beautiful women that I do love would have never happened. There's nobody that has ever been close to me that is not dynamic in more than one way. Not one. But what I found is, you know, it's always these jokes, but you're really trying to put a person down. You want to mock and laugh, or some of you want to be a friend because you in a competition for anointing. It's about you can't give compliments, you can't say nothing good. As long as a person seems weaker or lesser, it's fine. But then when you find out of all the material things a person can have, and you just have a natural confidence within yourself, you are a problem. Because they work at this, they dress, and they have the makeup, they have the latest this, the latest that, they travel, they do all these things, and then here you come, real simplistic in a lot of things, but then they find out that you are like a whale. A whale has water, but to really dip down to the depth, you don't know the depth of it. And when you meet a soul like that, that's endless, that's a threat to somebody who actually is dope. But they don't really realize it, because if they realize it, they wouldn't spend so much time putting other people down, gossiping, laughing at other people's pain. This is just one type. And I don't care what you say, they can find a way to turn a story and make it about them, or say what they would do and how they should do and what somebody else should do, could do, or would do. Because they are the great end all be all of everything. And these are people who have nursed, and they are just actually rehearsing. Anytime you have that kind of negative behavior where you can't hear nobody else and you got to make it a competition and put in your story, or some kind of way something going on, you got to keep bringing up your past that you supposedly over, or you always know what somebody else should be doing, you want to get them together, you want to tell them things, or you want to like put pressure and crunch down on them, because even though y'all suffer from the same thing, They not walking in it like you. And then we got the other side of a person who will have this rejection, who try to be friends with this like this. So then you try to love on it and nurture it, and then you find out as you keep having all these relationships, it's draining the life out of you. And because of a lot of their abuse, I've had at least 4 or 5 of these women say to me, between me and you, who do you think will win if we got into a physical altercation? What in the heaven, hell, and earth are you talking about? Why are you even having a thought in your head as my friend, my sister, about physically harming me? Now, I don't know when, what day, or how, but I know that I'm going to let you go. Because in my thoughts of you is I want to protect you, look out for you, have good times, and I'll keep your secrets. And in your thoughts, that's jealousy. That's some why would you want to hit, hurt, or harm me? And that also comes from abuse and stuff you're not healed from. I had at least 2 or 3 of them tell me, oh, well, all my female friends, we end up in a fight. It would have been one thing if I heard it from one individual, but I actually heard this from more than one. And I had to give all of them the same answer. If you and I end up in a physical altercation, what you will know is we are not going to be friends again. Then I had one, we had a physical interaction. I stood down in the situation, but you know, what happened in that showed me that person's reaction when the whole altercation had nothing to do with me, but you attacked me. That's what you've been waiting to do. That is jealousy, and that's something so deep down ingrained. But what you people need to understand, is not your job to suffer or take that and endure something that you didn't create. And also another thing a lot of these people do, because they also take on narcissistic tendencies and traits, they do not apologize for anything. And that's why I told you, I'm not going to be bothered. And people, they get so delusional, even when they like start making changes in their life, that now they evolve. But it doesn't matter. It's just like what I learned in counseling about drug addicts and alcoholism. It's a term they use called dry drunk, where a person can actually stop using the drugs and put down the alcohol, but because they haven't really dealt with the root of what caused the addiction in the first place, you can see somebody even be sober for up to 30 years and relapse. And a person will be like, well, how did that happen? They had 30 years clean and sober. What happened? And this is where the term dry drunk comes in, because they only treated symptoms. They never got the root. You can modify a behavior. You can say, hey, this is how I'm going to do. I'm going to think myself happy and think this and think that. But if you haven't taken the real time, not just with God, with some therapy is okay. Something as simple as walking and light exercise will help. There's no way you can go through all of this type of abuse and trauma and then one day want to change and desire it and think you okay. Because while you changing all of this outward stuff, and your mindset really can change and your heart can soften. But when God gets you to them points, he want to get in there and pull that stuff out. That's why you'll see, even when you see people who maybe have been in ministry or something, then all of a sudden, like, dang, they was 15 years, they did a lot of great works, and then all of a sudden they back in the world and it look like they never knew God at all. It's because they treated symptoms and never addressed the roots. And then that's what we're talking about. So that is a heavy, heavy, heavy state of denial. And that's housed with Leviathan. That's pride. Pride to keep you blind, and it's real hard to penetrate. When you your own God and you rely on yourself and you build yourself and then it break. You need something outside of you. in order to maintain that and to press into healing. It's like over-the-counter medicine. It's not enough, because it'll treat the symptoms, but we can all still get colds if we don't do the right things, if we're not eating right, dressing properly according to the weather, and staying around from people who are infected. Catch it. So this is the first part, and we just talked about how people nurse and rehearse. And take this time to do some self-reflection and see where you fall in line with that. It's always good to do mental and spiritual check-ins with yourself. I do it on a regular basis, and I'm okay with it. And I'm still all kind of wrong. Because if I keep getting pushed, I'll pull out a whole sword and I'll chop and screw everything. And I have to work hard and press into God to not do those things. And I could be right about what I was saying. And maybe they need to hear it. But am I helping a person or helping myself because I'm frustrated and overwhelmed, and it is a go-to from my nurse and rehearse stage, and something I yet still need to work on? So I want y'all to be encouraged. Take those things, meditate on it, chew on it, take it to God above all else. Please don't rely on your own thinking. Your own thinking is not the answer. I mean, go out and seek God and cast all your cares. Because if I know anything else, God may delay on an answer, a breakthrough, some direction and guidance, but I want you to know it is some angels in heaven with Nikes on at a starting line. God is fast, I mean expeditious, to tell you the truth about you. I've never seen such. And I kid you not, I have not even gotten the whole sentence out my mouth, and I feel like it's an angel. My angel just take off like boom. Yep, that's you. Yep. Yep. So I want you to take everything to God, because I promise you, if you want to know any truth, the truth about you is the truth He loved to tell, the quickest, the fastest, and the clearest. Okay? So I want you all to be blessed in the Lord until we get to part 2. It's probably going to be 3 parts. But right now we was addressing the nurse and rehearse part of the black sheep. Because what I just talked about right now is the aftermath of surviving it. This is the aftermath, and this is the mindset, and this is what God has to work with all your good stuff. This is all that, the little, ugly stuff that can be present. And I've been on both sides of that. I haven't wanted to just try to like fight people and all that stuff, but I have been completely overbearing, obnoxious, a know-it-all. And then I've also been the person like, hey, let's not do all of that, just calm down, not too much. And then I realized on either side, if a person is not actively doing anything to heal and work on those things, and work on seeing themselves more than they want to see others, you can't do nothing with that. You got to leave them in God's hands and remove yourself. Because you can't get well if you still sit in sickness while you trying to get the sickness that you survived yourself out of you. So I want y'all to be blessed in the Lord. No, it's okay to be a misfit. You are just the right fit for Jesus. I love you all in the love of the Lord. Look out, part 2 is coming up. Be blessed.